MAPS leadership coach, and I am talking with you today on behalf of myself, Amanda Light, Terry Foster Nallen, Tim Bodwin, and also Kimberly Horn. So today, I have the pleasure of working with Joe Pasillo as his MAPS coach. And anyway, when I first started working with Joe, we started talking about superpowers. Like, what do you think would be your best way to connect, and bring cappers into the marketplace for you? And Joe started telling me about his history. So I'm going to start it with that. So Joe, fill everybody in on your background.
So I'm about 20 years in the wonderful world of real estate. Primarily been focused in the real estate tech, lead gen, and lead conversion world. So for my last position, I was a vice president of a company-generated business for Realogy under the NRT brand. So basically doing lead conversion and lead generation for Coldwell Banker. And we built a tech platform and brought a group of agents into it from outside and put them in all 45 markets. Within 4 years, we built it from zero to $70 million business unit, doing about 30,000 transactions a year, all company generated business, all with big referral fees and about a 35% profit margin. So my main focus over the years has been teaching agents how to generate leads, how to convert leads, how to manage leads over time, and not teaching them how to market themselves. My job is to put money in their pockets, not make them look pretty to everyone. So that's what I've always focused on, and that's kind of what I'm trying to bring here and getting people more productive.
So Joe, you've been in position 5 months, right? A little like we were talking about it yesterday. So what has been your success with getting referrals from your agents? And also, let's just start there, from getting referrals that have converted to capper hires for you.
So the average is about a capper a month so far. I got another one coming on the 1st.
Awesome.
And they're all coming from agent referrals. I'm not calling anybody. I'm not making phone calls to people right now. I'm spending time with the top 20 agents, and I'm changing their business philosophy. I'm saving them money and at the same time putting more money in their pocket, giving them more time to themselves. And in return, I constantly remind them that I would love them to find people that are like they are, want to work hard and learn like this, and let's build a business around it. So I keep telling them, you get to choose who's coming in here. And that's my referral. Like, oh, what can I do to help? Get me somebody like you. So I always say, that's my line. Get me somebody like you.
So if you hadn't figured it out, Joe's from Boston. And so Joe, I always enjoy, his take on things. So just be you, man. I'm loving it. So so as you can tell from that introduction, Joe has built a lot of businesses, and so when we early on started talking about command, man, Joe, you just dove into it. So tell us about your experience being with all these other companies and how you think, what prompted you to have command kind of as your platform to do those two things that you said you wanted to do for your business, which were, grow their businesses and then also give them more time?
Yeah, I started with a company called Zip Realty. Those of you that have been in the industry for a little bit, you may have heard of them, in 2002, when we were 20 people strong. And we were actually the first company to ever put MLS listings out as an aggregate. And it was very fun but very painful at the same time. But I've always built real estate companies on technology, and Realogy and NRT acquired us for that technology. It makes an agent much more efficient. So, to sit down with one of my tappers who has their 3,000 leads somewhere in an Excel spreadsheet or in some junk CRM that they're paying $20 a month for, or for them to have a decent CRM that they're paying $1,500 a month for when this is free, just kind of was a punch in the face for me. Like, this is just an easy open door. With the caveat is nobody will jump into it face first and dive in and do everything. So what I've always learned over the years is to get agents to adapt to any type of program. It's to find one piece of it that they can make money on and that they're going to like and that's simple to use. Get them loving it, and now you're just inching them over. And Susan and I were talking about how I brought Facebook in, and then we've inched them over to opportunities because I'm adding value and they're doing weekly meetings with me, but I don't know what they're doing if I can't see it in their opportunities. So now we're talking about bringing everything through. And if you're going to get a Facebook lead, we got to create a smart plan for that Facebook lead, or you're not going to follow up with it properly. And it's just inching them through, but it's showing them success. I call them success points. I can't make you move past anything till I've had a success point with the thing I'm trying to get you at now. And then when you go, wow, this is great, then I bring you to the next point.
I love that. So when you're thinking about, so we were talking about kind of like leaving breadcrumbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yep.
start with them. You won't talk to them until they put it in opportunities. So they can see how much money they have coming, right?
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. And I want to back it down just a second, because when we got in there, Joe said, his vision for the office was to be a huge, big, productive office. And you
Yeah.
didn't feel like you had that. So you were
Yeah.
purposefully going to build your people and then build that around, and then to have them bring it into you for those people that are just joining us. So in so comparing command, so because I remember the very first day when we just kind of were rolling through it, and you just were like, so tell us your experience with Facebook, because that's kind of how you went into it, and how the difference in Facebook in command, and how the simplicity of it versus having all of their stuff in external CRMs and then trying to convert in. Tell us that story and how you convert that before we move into the other.
Well, I have other agents that have there. Some of them are using Brivity, some are using other CRMs. And so here's the thing with Facebook, and I'll say this to everyone. We're I love the promotion of Facebook, but I hate it right now, because what happens is if you promote Facebook as this lead gen thing and it's the end all be all, and you don't properly train the agents to follow up with the leads, they're a 2 to 5% conversion rate. I've been buying Facebook leads for 15 years now. I spent $9 million in Facebook at NRT my last year there. They're 2 to 5%. So if you don't have the right follow-up plan and they're not buying sufficient amount of leads through Facebook, they won't get conversions, and they're all going to tell you they suck. So what I did in the beginning is I hooked on to 2 young cappers that I have that were very eager to build a much bigger business than they already have. I said, I'm going to teach you how to lead generate and stop teaching you to market yourself. So, but you need to commit to me. And they were the 2 ladies that latched on to me in the very beginning. So we did our one-on-one sessions. I taught them, and I'll walk you through some of the stuff. But I taught them how to run an ad, and then I got them to generate leads, and I worked with them side by side, calling those leads, working those leads, and we got conversions. So the first one got a $675,000 lead, $750,000 lead, 800K buyer. All buyers that they worked with, and they're in the process of converting right now on $50 to $100 spend. The second one got a $1 million buyer who needed to sell a $3.1 million lot in downtown Boston. She flipped it to a developer, and we're going to get 6 million plus condos out of the development. So these are success stories, right? And my prices up here are big, right? So wherever your price range are, our edge price is 1.2. So you find, I got 2 success stories. Now I get them in a sales meeting talking about their success stories. Now all my big cappers want to come over. So here's where the discussion of Facebook from one CRM to the other goes. One's using Brivity, and he's like, well, why don't I just go into Facebook and run the leads, and then I'll just put them into my Brivity because I don't want to use command. I said, you could do that. Let me show you how to run a Facebook ad, and how painful it is to get the leads out of it, how painful it is if you don't have the system set up properly for you to really miss out on this. And it's probably just going to be a waste of your money, but I'll show you anyway. And I showed him, Ryan Wilson, so you may know him. And by the way, this kid was spending $52,000 a year in Zillow, which I completely stopped like that. They said, we're going to spend $5,000 and we're going to spend $5,000 in Facebook, and we're going to go 10x what you did at Zillow for 1/10 the price. So I show him all that. He goes, "Wow, that sucks. It's painful." I said, "All right, let's do it in Command and let me show you how easy it is." Took us 5 minutes to run a quick ad. He's like, "Wow, that was pretty easy." He goes, "But I use Brevity, so it's gonna suck. I have to pull them over." I was like, "Yep, sure, you got to pull them over. So at least you can just copy the information, put it in Brevity." But I knew I was getting them in there, right? And now he's a capper, so this kid's doing 50. He's a big team in the area. He's #1 market share. He's doing 50, 60 listings a year, and we're running $200 ads on each listing, right? And we're generating 100+ leads for each listing. It's getting really painful for him to push those leads. So now what he's doing, he has one of his buyer agents assigned to the account, and they're working Command, and they're in it. Now the buyer agent doesn't have Brevity. So what did we have to do? We had to set up smart plans, or he was going to get out of control and he would lose track of people. So I taught him how to build smart plans, and now we're inching it over. But this is that example of, okay, Ryan, I want to review your business each month because I just saved you $52,000, showed you how to do some list things. And he's using the letters also, which we'll get into afterwards because it's this complete circle you want to do with the whole thing.
Right.
And now
Yeah.
he's using opportunities because I told him I can't understand his revenue opportunities without seeing it in front of me like this. So now he's using that.
Okay. So you've taken the breadcrumb philosophy of taking them from Facebook, you've just taken them all the way around and now into opportunities. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And all right. So you said a lot right there. I mean, a whole lot. Okay. And just for everybody to know here, you're going to get a video of how to do this. You're also going to get everything we're talking about is step by step on these conversion programs that Joe's doing. And you're also going to get that step by step. So just, you haven't got to write it all down. He's literally going to send it to you. I really want you to get the gist of how he's consulting his top 20 right here. And I love, the main thing I wrote down was we are getting 6 new leads. And so that's, you are in that business with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so are they going anywhere? I just want to see anybody's head like they're never going to leave Joe.
No.
So right, yeah. And so okay, so I love that whole story. I think you shared that with me. I said we have to do a call because I coach quite a few people that are in tech. I see Jesse on here that are and Mark as well that are very tech forward. And so in thinking about it, if we don't start converting our Facebook leads, we're going to be, what we say about Zillow leads is what we're going to say about our program. So we've got to do the work on the back end. Okay. So, okay, that was anybody have any questions to Joe about that before we move on to like the system of conversion? Anybody? This is totally interactive.
I do, Susan. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Just if Joe could speak a little bit to the content of those ads. How important is the content over the? I get a lot of agents in my market center that tell me I put an ad out there. It took very little to do, but I haven't gotten any traction on it. So if you could speak a little bit of the content, what's in there? What are those hot buttons that we should hit with those potential?
So that's a great question. So that's where a lot of people also fail, Susan. I didn't bring this one up to you. This is important, actually. I'm glad you asked. So you can't give anything too much away in a Facebook ad. So one of the things that I see people saying, okay, you can add multiple photos, you can put videos in your Facebook ads. What's the goal of a Facebook ad? To get somebody to click a button and make sure that they go through the system and we grab their information and we follow up with them. So if you create a Facebook ad with 20 photos, a video, you tell them exactly where the property is, then they have no reason to click here to learn more, right? So that's really valuable. I'll give you an example. Ryan Wilson, the young man that I was telling you about that does those 50 transactions listing sites. We were going to run his very first Facebook ad, $1.4 million condo in downtown Boston in a very specific building that has its own name and it's well known. So he pulls his listing in from MLS and it says stunning floor to ceiling corner unit condo in the Bradmore building downtown Boston. I was like, and then he wanted to put all these beautiful shots in there. I was like, well, I love stunning and everything else, but we're taking Bradmore out, and you're putting the money shot in. You put one picture, no videos, and you make sure that it's the money shot. It's that it's a beautiful description that's vague enough so that they need to ask questions. It should be a tease. If you give them all the info, see, everybody thinks you're trying to, here's the one thing I want you guys to get your heads wrapped around. We're not marketing a property, we're lead generating, okay? We're lead generating. So if you're marketing the property, you're gonna build this beautiful brochure. They can get that when they come into the unit, right? We're lead generating, so you gotta be specific and vague at the same time. And always make sure you use the Facebook lead gen form. Don't send it to a landing page, okay?
That's a big one, guys. Okay, say that one more time.
Don't use the landing page option. Use the Facebook lead gen form. The reason that is, it's called a barrier lead. In internet lead generation is, you click learn more, there's a barrier to get to the next step. And then what I always tell agents to do is then take your KW website or whatever website you use, find that property on your website, go into the address bar, copy that, and put that as the destination. So I'm doing two things. I'm generating a lead, and then I'm pushing people to my branded website and that property on my branded website.
Hey, Joe, I'm going to interrupt you. P.S. That's going to be on the video you get. So just FYI.
Yeah, that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I did a 19-minute video on how to do all the Facebook ad stuff. So you're good.
Yeah.
You'll have it.
Anybody else got? That was a great question.
He said that, Joe, you said that you walked them through the follow-up and the conversion, the first two. So does that mean that, like, you're calling the leads, you're sitting with them? Like, what does that mean you walk them through?
Absolutely. And when we share the screen, I have a 10-day script. It's got text, email, and everything.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
And we literally walk through it. We'll Zoom. Here's what I do. I Zoom call them so they don't have to come on in and meet me. And I put myself on mute and I make them call while I'm doing it. And I listen to the call. When they're done, I give them feedback. I unmute. So that way, and I blank my face out. I stop my video so they don't see me looking at them. So it's a great way that I've always found, and I've done this even before COVID. I used to do WebExes with people in sales. I'm gonna blank my screen out. I'm just gonna listen. I'm gonna mute myself, and you're gonna make calls. So this is a 10-day call script, email and text script that at certain points in time, you're gonna do certain things. The amount of contact per day weans down into the 10 days. In the very beginning, we're call, emailing, and texting. You'll get all this stuff and you can read through it. It's pretty fluid, but in the beginning, you need to get to the lead immediately. If you can get to them within 5 minutes, if it's within business hours, you should, because they're still looking at the property probably when you call them. You're gonna text, email, and call until you get a thing, then you're gonna just go through the scripts. On day 4, you're gonna set them up on a neighborhood nurture based on the property that they were inquiring on. So I may not touch this person now, and then even in the 10 days, but now I got them on the nurture. And they may call you back in 2-3 months and say, hey, you've been sending me properties. I'd like to look at this one. I've got tons of stories of people that have done that over the last multiple years. You're going to send them your app. You're going to do a whole bunch of stuff to get them in there. And then you're going to get them in a system and get them on a touch plan. So very simple. But yeah, making the calls with them, I think, is huge. And it's simple call. Hello, Tom. This is Melanie. I'm calling you back about the property in Wellesley you requested info on. What can I tell you about it? Or would you like to set up a showing? That's the initial phone call. Voicemail is the same, email is the same, text is the same. It's when you hit them hard on day 1, you typically get good responses. And we'll send this out to you guys. And you can make this into a smart plan.
Right.
Right? Really easy to make this into a smart plan.
So you do this with your top 20, right? And
yes.
and the goal is to have a PC that's doing this with, people in the PC program and
yes.
and working at that direction, right?
Yep.
Anybody got questions around this? Anybody?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Susan,
yeah,
maybe not around that, because that's pretty straightforward in terms of like the activity and the actions, but can Joe speak a little bit on the consistency of ads? How often, how consistent are those ads being run? And when do you give up or not give up? When is that curve of like, okay, it's working, it's getting enough? Is that from the first ad, or are you recommending that they do 4 or 5 to see what works, and then how do you approach that?
Well, glad you asked. Here's the process I have set up for them. Exactly for
Hey guys,
specifically what
by
you
the
just
way,
did.
Joe's an engineer. If you guys hadn't figured that out.
For full disclosure, I have
6
not.
months.
Yeah.
You don't
He
say.
started selling the shit I was making. So yeah, no, that didn't work well for me. No, so here's how I build this out. It's a circle, right? So I get top producing agents that have listings. I have them run their Facebook ad. We develop buyers. And then we're going to circle prospect we're going to send letters out and circle prospect for the buyers to get more listings. And then when we get the listings, we do the Facebook ads, we create more buyers. And again, I'm teaching them a lead generation systems, not marketing. Totally different world. So to your question, here's what I ask them to do on Facebook. I make sure I hammer home the fact that these are 2 to 5% conversion rates. If you oversell these things, you're gonna have people that are gonna complain about them, right? So in order to do that in our area, I always tell my productive agents, you want to generate about 100 leads. Our current cost is about $2 a lead. So here's how I ask them to break it out. So they're gonna do an open house ad on Facebook, hopefully the Wednesday prior. And I want them to spend $50 on that, right? And if you have different costs, you can adjust these prices and do whatever you want. Once the open house is over, I want them to run a 10-day ad on the property for $150, $15 a day, right? And the ads, the description of what the ads and what they should say are all right in here. And then if the property doesn't go under contract, and we have what we call a purchase and sale in Massachusetts, which typically takes about 10 to 15 days after it's under contract. If you have a contingent status and it's not, you can still advertise it for backup offers. I tell them take the extra hit and go for it. But the process I have them do is spend the $200 at open house, and then on the Sunday after open house, run a 10-day ad. Even if the property goes contingent, you can still lead gen off of it. You just tell the people it's under contract. How many times you guys call the car dealership and you see that awesome car and then they say, sorry, that's under contract, but they got you, all right? So it's the same principle.
And so, Joe, this is kind of like the Keller Williams open house strategy. And I mean, I've been in real estate since '92. And when I first saw that open house strategy, you know, I was like going, oh my gosh, what have I been doing all these years, right? So anybody have questions on this? Because he's going to show you kind of how that will lead into how you lead prospect off of those open houses when you sell the property. Anybody got questions on that?
No.
No? Okay. I'm glad because we've got a lot to cover here. So go ahead, Joe.
So going forward, here's again, this is the big thing. I'm teaching them to lead generate, not to market. I want to beat that into everybody's head, because what every agent wants to do next is when they get a listing, when they have an open house, they want to send postcards out. They want to send a flyer out because it's easy and they can generate it and shoot it out. I have told my folks, you're gonna send postcards out and you'll get a 0.1% response rate if you're that. I teach you how to do something that will take about 2 hours of your time for a week, and 10 to 15% of the people will respond to you, then I want you to think about trying this for me, and just try it with 100 letters for me. That's all you have to do. So what I ask them to do for properties, let's get into the buyer one first, Susan.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Yeah,
go
that's
back to the
fine.
open house, just in case we get cut off.
Okay.
So when you've got buyers, so for example, we just did this Facebook ad and we got 200 leads and we got 5 buyers out of it. And in our market, there's not a lot out there. And I have agents say to me, I get too many buyers right now, I need to get more listings.
Hey, Joe, and how much did that cost, getting those 200 leads?
200 leads?
In Boston.
100 leads in my market will cost you $200.
Yeah. So yep. Boston's a more expensive market for sure.
We are, but again, my average sale price is $1.2 million. So
absolutely.
My agents will make 20 grand on a transaction around here. So we've got these buyers, right? And I need more listings. Like, great, you got buyers. I always tell them, bird in the hand, two in the bush, right? So we circle prospect for buyers. And it's working amazing right now for my group. And again, I did this with 1 or 2 productive agents that have big mouths and will speak. And I said to him, you got to just trust me. And I know it's a pain in the ass, but I want you to handwrite envelopes for these letters that you're going to send. Put a stamp on it and put a return address with your name and the office on it. Don't put real estate anywhere on it. They're going to type a simple letter. So, where am I going? Prospecting.
So literally all this you're getting. So just FYI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all getting this. Yep. Oh, lead generation on buyers. Here we go. Handwritten envelope. Simple question. Two letters that I have them send. If you just got outbid in a neighborhood and they love the house, you can use the second one. But the most effective one is this guy right here. Dear Mr. Jones, would you consider an offer for your property at 129 Main Street from a client of mine? Sincerely, Ryan Wilson. He's the guy I did this test with. So Ryan sent out 200 of these. He got 17 responses wanting to know how much people would offer for his home.
Okay, boom. Just saying. Yeah, 17 listing appointments.
It's a simple, and here's the kicker, right? Tell me about this offer you're talking about. Well, you specifically have a buyer. So another example of a woman who just got a $699,000 listing in Bum Knuckle area that the average price is like $400. And the place will sell because it's huge, it's beautiful, and it's new construction. She had a specific buyer that was growing out of the house that they're in. They're retiring. They're in a colonial. They can't do the stairs anymore. They're looking for a ranch, but very specific with a lot of land. So she sent this letter out. She got 14 responses from 127 letters. She's currently working with 4 people on CMAs trying to get them listed and has about 4 or 5 more that she's getting in her pipeline. And the call was easy. Thank you for calling me, Mr. Jones. I'm working with an elderly couple right now. They live in the town. They're struggling with the stairs, and they asked me to reach out for people with ranches in a large lot. You fit that description. So I'm just kind of seeing if I could help you out. It's such an easy phone call. Like, everybody frets talking to sellers, but you can physically walk somebody through it. Then you simply ask them, can you tell me a little bit about the property so I can see if it's a good match? And if so, could I get a time where I could walk them through? And would you consider an offer? And here's the key. You've got to use the word offer, not would you consider selling. Selling is a very final thing. Offer it's an open door. I can say yes or no to you. So you've got to use the word offer. Keep using the word offer. Would you never in your conversations are you talking about selling?
Okay, I got to stop right there and just say, how awesome is that? And so much of this we could take right into how we recruit as a team leader. Would you consider an offer? You know, I mean, I'm just sitting there going, okay. So do me a quick favor. Do you have that letter pulled up of the results of this? That, you know, basically the testimonial from your agent. I kind of love it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And does anybody have a question on this? Because I want to be really great with everybody's time here, and I know we covered a lot, and it was very quick. Anybody, while he pulls that letter up.
My phone is blowing up about recording and resources. We will make sure that we get them out to you for those of you guys not following the chat.
So here's go ahead, Joe.
So Russ is one of my top agents. Russ does probably about 50 deals a year in the area. So here's his response about a letter. So he got this from the 129 Forest is one of the houses he sent a letter to from the sellers, and now / buyers from a letter makes me want to just handwrite letters all day long now. Right? Thank you, Joe. Here's the folks. So their responses, they asked him what it'd be worth. After he talked to them, it wasn't a good fit, but he said, hey, listen, based on my thoughts, I think you could get this for the property. And he sent them a CMA. Well, they followed up, and he's adding his wife to it and basically said, we're not ready to sell until we can find something we'd like. Can you show us, here's 2 MLS listings. Here's what we're really looking for. Let's go look at these properties. If they fit our needs, then we'll talk about listing with you. And this is probably, you know, 650, 700K, and they're going to be looking probably 800K on a buy side. So about $1.4 million, so about $35,000. And this is one of his letters. And here's what I'm going to tell you. When I told you, keep that letter super simple, Russ screwed up the first time. Russ decided to make a marketing piece and talk about how awesome he is and how amazing everything is. And he didn't just write the one simple freaking sentence. That's all you need to do. Because remember, what is our goal in lead gen? To get people to respond. Don't give them too much information. It's such a vague letter saying, would you consider an offer on your property? That's it. Don't try to spiff it up. Don't add anything else to it. He got 0 responses from his first time. And he called me, he goes, letter sucks. I go, well, show me your letter. I go, it sucks because you did it your own way and put it into a 2-paragraph letter. They said, do it my way. And he did it my way, and he got a whole bunch of responses. And this is one of them.
So Joe, thank you for like putting all this together. It's going to be a valuable resource. And I just think about what Gary said from the stage in August at, or maybe it was yeah, gosh, was it February? February at family reunion. The months are blending here. And when he was saying we don't have a lead generation problem, we have a lead conversion problem. And what you're saying is we're marketing ourselves, and we're not lead generating and actually working on that. That's what I'm hearing from you. And back in the day, you know, this used to be the flyer you'd put in the box. You would be very vague on it, so people would call you, you know, but this is the flyer in the box, right? So I want to thank you so much, Joe, for doing this, and we'll get the information out to everybody. And just everybody, please, he's been very successful in a very short period getting Capper recruits and building the team that the production team that he wants there. So, and we're only just getting started. So if you have any questions, reach out to me, myself, or Joe. And thanks to everybody.
See you, folks.
All right. Have a powerful week. Okay. Take care. Thank you, Joe.
Yep.